Uh, Today we will discuss on some prerequisite concept to understand our upcoming lectures on functional analysis. But when I actually filmed that video on metric space, I assumed that there is no such requirement. But gradually I realized that as many of you are from different engineering colleges, and also you are neither math major not math minor, so it may so happen that you have most of the many of you have forgotten what you have been taught during your undergraduate classes, undergraduate engineering mathematics. So it is better to discuss those prerequisite concepts once again to proceed. So today we'll first discuss that what is meant by a relation in mathematics. So what is the relation? Sometimes also known as binary relation. A relation R from set capital A to set capital B is an, just a minute. So from set A to set B is defined as, or we can say is a subset of the set formed by the Cartesian product A cross B, now which we can define as right. Now a binary relation are on a single set A is defined as a subset of A cross A for two distinct set A and B with cardinalities M and N. This need to be noted that M and N, A and B are two different sets with different cardinalities. Cardinalities means the number of elements present in the set. The maximum cardinal nullity, maximum cardinality of the relation R from A to B is M into N, right? Now in the context of this relation, we need to define the concept of domain and range. Obviously, when I will complete the discussion on relation, it will give you an impression that relation and function, they are the same concept. And also those who are a bit advanced, they may also think that operator is also like a function or also like a linear relation. So in the due course we will also study, or we will also try to find out how much they are similar and how they are different from each other, right? So domain of the relation, if there are two sets A and B and a relation R from A to B is then the domain is defined as the set A such that A comma B belongs to R for some small b in B, right? Just a minute. Now before discussing the, and also what about the like this is the definition of domain, and what is range? In the just in a reverse way you can define range, like here I have defined the domain of a relation from A to B is then the domain is defined as a set. So similarly range is defined as the set however here like you can visualize that domain is the collection of all A such that the relation or means its corresponding element B is present there in the set capital B, and similarly here you should write it what for defining range or codomain, that B is such that A comma B belongs to R for some A in capital A, right? Now we will discuss different types of relation and then we will go to the example. So first type of relation, a relation R on a set capital A is called an empty relation. How you can call it as empty relation? Like if you cannot relate it with anything to anything, so anything if you means what or how someone can prevent you from relating one element to another. It is like if there doesn't exist any element, so the in order to define the empty relation, you can say similarly, the opposite one is full relation. Like a relation that means that is the total set A cross B instead of a subset of A cross B. It is the total set A cross B, that is the full relation. Now we will talk about reflexive relation. A relation R on a set holds for all A belongs to capital A. So what you can say that, let me give you one example. Say set A is like it is having two elements, then R, the reflexive relation will be what? This one is reflexive relation. Now for the reverse one, that is irreflexive relation. So what is that irreflexive relation? Like in the previous case, you see that uh, like the previous example, we took two element set A with A comma B. So if you obtain A cross A, there will be how much? I have discussed the maximum cardinality. That will be how much? That is somewhere here I have written it's Mn. So if you obtain A cross A, where A is a two element set, then there will be four. It will be maximum 4. So what will be those four elements? Those four elements will be like A comma B, B comma A, B comma B, right? So if that is the case, then if you have a relation that only contains, relation must be a subset of your Cartesian product set A cross B. So if a relation contains this, then it will become irreflexive, right? Now let us consider symmetric relation. Why all these relations are important, that you will understand when discussing the Now, here the interesting things, if you have lost interest, then let me tell you one thing. If you take a linear system, say only one state is there, x dot is equal to minus 5x. Now, for a certain initial condition, if you solve for the state trajectory, what you will get? You will get for different value of t, you will get different value of your uh, uh, x, right? So now you can say that your set capital A contains all possible t, and if you consider instead of considering it's a continuous time case, you can take discrete sample. So your set A can A, A can comprise all those discrete value of A, and the set B may comprise all those discrete value of your state function. You are getting xt, so you will be able to find out, suppose at t is equal to 0, your x t at t is equal to 0 is 5. Now at t is equal to 1, your xt is equal to say 4. At t is equal to 2, say xt is equal to 3 or 2. So your A will contain all these 0, 1, 2, all the values of t, and similarly your B will contain all the values of your state function like 5, 4, 3 or whatever. Now for each and every like you can always obtain the Cartesian product, and then you have to find out that how one state is related to, means you can always define a relation from state A to state B, and obviously that relation, what are the elements will be present there, because if you try to like when you will do the Cartesian product, you will get what? You will get say like mathematics is a tool, it doesn't understand what you are trying to do or whether it comply with the physical understanding of the system or not. So for zero, like you will have logically speaking, for one value of your t, you should get one xt only, because this is a linear system example, say x dot t is equal to minus xt or something. But if you take the Cartesian product of t and xt, you will get numerous values. Suppose if you take 100 sample of t, and then you will be having 100 sample of your xt, and your t means the set A cross B will have total element 100 cross 100. So for every value of t can be related to different value of xt. However, when you will consider the physical set, that will consider only one-to-one mapping. For one time point, you will have only one value of xt, and then you can put all of them to form a subset of that Cartesian product set, and that will give you a relation. And then you will be later on you will find that how this notion of relation can turn out to be a useful concept while dealing with control system problem. Now let us consider a symmetric relation. A relation R on a set A is called symmetric if so let us take an example of that symmetric relation. Let us take A is equal to then what will be the symmetric relation if R contains then it is an example of symmetric relation. Now what is antisymmetric relation? Like antisymmetric relation cannot be so straightforward like idioflexive relation. Antisymmetric relation is like if A comma B belongs to the relation R and B comma A belongs to R, then then A is equal to B is called an antisymmetric relation. So what is that antisymmetric relation? Let us consider one relation like it consists of all A comma B from set A such that R now here if you want to claim that A comma B is equal to B comma A, then obviously it implies A less than is equal to B and B less than is equal to A, which furthermore clubs to boils down to A is equal to B, right? So this is an example of antisymmetric relation. Now we will consider transitive relation. Just a minute. Is called transitive if A comma B belongs to R and B comma C belongs to R, implies A comma C belongs to R for all A comma B comma C belongs to A then it is a transitive relation. Like we can take an example. This is an example of transitive relation for a set. Right. Now, what is equivalence relation? What is equivalence relation? When a relation basically it has to satisfy the three things. One is reflexive, another one is symmetric, and the third one is transitive. Now, say you take a set then R has to be comprised in such a way like these three are required to ensure the reflexive nature of the relation. Then you have and so it gives us the impression that in order to become an equivalence relation, uh, like a relation must be the full means must equal to the Cartesian product set, right? It should be like exactly equal to the set of the Cartesian product set. Now here you have to think that whether this statement is true or not. Now we'll show you something else. So now we will like to discuss that what is the notion of equivalence class. Equivalence relation apparently gives us an idea. Please check the spelling of equivalence, whether it is double L or single L, because I am not good at this means spelling. So what is the notion of this equivalence class? We will discuss, and what we have discussed as of now, that gives us an impression that in order to become an equivalence relation, it like the relation set must be equal to the whole set produced by the Cartesian product of the two participating sets between which we define that relation. Now let us move to the concept of equivalence class. Now here let us take one example, one set, like we will consider a set that is what to consider like a set right. Now let us write the A cross A. So what would be the A cross A? Obviously here we can expect 25 elements. So let me write it one by one. This is the total A cross A. Now we are trying to define our notion of equivalence class, right? Yeah. Now here in that let us means define a relation. A relation must be a subset of this cross product. So let us construct a proper substrate of this A cross A. So let us pick right now. Do remember one thing that 2 comma 4 and 4 comma 2 are not same. This relation is directional, and this cross product the order makes sense. Now let me claim that this relation R is an equivalence relation, and I left this part as like I would like to assign a small task to you to verify that this one is an equivalence relation. Now for this equivalence relation, we can define the equivalence class. Now once again, if you already get too tired and too much detested with that why so much of mathematics are dumped on our head, please note that this equivalence class, notion of this equivalence class is very important for us to comprehend the concept of quotient space. And that quotient space is a very important concept in our control system technology. Many people nowadays using this quotient space, especially while discussing design of control in problem for different system. So you can uh, so in order to understand that quotient space, we should study the equivalence class. Now here in equivalence class, what you can see that normally how we define equivalence class, we write it like we use a third bracket symbol like mod of say x, or you can also write, as we are using a b, so you can write mod of a. The definition of set is like mod of a is b such that all the b belongs to a, and a comma b belongs to your relation R. Don't get confused that this R is not real number line, this is R, the relation that we are trying to define. We sometimes denoted it like, just a minute. Now let us try to understand the concept more clearly. Here in our set we are having 5 elements in capital A. So let us try to define the equivalence class for all these 5 elements. For 1, what you will get, for 1, if you consider this set, 1 is related to obviously 1 means is related to 1 because it has to be a reflexive one, and also there is something like it is related to 3. So 1 comma 3. Then we have to consider 2. 2 is related to 2 and 2 is also related to 4. Now for 3, 3 is related to 3 and 3 is related to 1. However, we can write it like 1 comma 3. And then there is 4. Likewise, we can write it like 2 comma 4. Fine. Now, what about 5? 5 is only related to 5, but it is not related to anyone else. So here we can see that how many equivalence class we can have. We can have basically 3 equivalence class. One is this 1 comma 3, another one is 2 comma 4, and another one is 5. And these 3 equivalence class are known as, like, we can write from this, we can just write that, let me write a lemma. The proofs are not very important for us as a control system engineer. However, if you want, I can show you. Just let me check whether it is recording or not. Fine, it's recording. Then we would like to define the the partition of a set A is what? A partition of a set partition of a set A is defined as a collection the disjoint non-empty subsets of A whose union equals to A. Now see, here in the above example, we are having three equivalence class. So these three equivalence class 1, 3, 2, 4 and 5, if you consider their union, you will get back the set capital A once again. Now from this, what we can write, like from the definition of partition, another lemma we can write, that is given a partition P of a set capital A, there is exactly one equivalence relation on A from which P was derived, or vice versa. So what is the issue here? Like here you take a set, like one, we take this relation. Now if we apply a little bit of our common sense, then we can understand that these first 5 elements has to be present, have to be present in all equivalence relation to satisfy the reflexive one. However, later on we can change the elements, like instead of writing this, I can pick up 3, 5 and 5, 3. Then also it will become an equivalence relation. You can also try to prove it. And here also, instead of having this, we can write 1, 2 and 2, 1. Then see, one more thing I think you will be getting confused, that relation is always an ordered, means relation set is always an ordered pair, means the element of relation set is always an ordered pair, and it is actually by virtue of our definition of Cartesian product, the elements of which are present in your Cartesian product set, that is also ordered pair, right? So that is why relationship is directional. However, when you are trying to construct equivalence class, it is not that means directional in that sense, or always ordered. So one, we can write it like with this definition, say this is our new relation R dash, you can write it like, now 1 is related to 2 and 2 is also related to 1, 3 is related to 5 and 5 is also related to 5. However, 4 is alone. So previously you had your some combination. Now you are having this one, that 1, 2, another one is 3, 5 and another one is 4. So whenever you change the definition of your relation, your partition definition of your partition are also changed with the definition of relation, and that one is unique. Like for this we are getting the let me go back to the lemma once again so you can get it clearly. Given a partition P of a set A, so obviously partition P means that P1, P2, P3, what you are getting in the last case probably it was 1, 2, 3, 5 and 4. So if you tag them P1, P2, P3 of set A, the whole set, there is exactly one equivalence relation. In the second case we consider R dash, that is the exactly one equivalence relation that generates this P1, P2, P3 for the second case. If we replace R dash by some other equivalence relation, obviously the partition of means partition sets will also change, right? So I hope this is somewhat clear to you. Now, before I go to the question space, I would also like to discuss something about your, say, function. Why so? Because when we will go there, we would like to relate each and everything in quotient space. So I hope this equivalence class relation is somewhat clear to you. Now, I think more or less you people are quite aware of function. So within the normal span of this video timing, let me just give you a very quick means a recap of this function. So let us consider A and B, two non-empty sets. So by a function or mapping, obviously in my past two video I have already used this symbol like state space is also a function, means sorry that state vector is you can also view as a function. So we can view it as it is a rule of A to an element of B. Quite often we demand that it is also an unique element, but in case of constant function it is not the case. So now with this definition here you can get what is the difference between relation and function. Like obviously a function is also a kind of relation, but not all the relation are kind of function, right? And also what we can see that we call this like one more notion I would like to introduce, because in future I may use some of them, and if you are not acquainted with the terms you may find it difficult. Like if we have A belongs to A and suppose your uh, function small f maps it, or say, and let me write. corresponding element B belongs to B is called the F image of small a, and this is called the pre-image of small b. Like you can relate this pre-image concept is like inverse function. Why all these are really, important for us, let me tell you. Like gradually we would like to discuss the concept of isomorphism, homomorphism, diffeomorphism, and all these are related. Like quite often you see that the modeling you have performed on a system that gives you a model, it is state variable is not in a very handy form. Handy by means of handy, I want to mean it is not in canonical form. So in that case, you need to transform that one, that state model to like if you consider linear system, then it is obviously a linear transformation from one to another. And in that case, you must make sure that even if you realize a handy state model, then after your designing is over in that new state model, that is, then you have to realize the design control law in terms of your physical state variables or physical variables. So in that case, if it is like only for A you get B, but for B you have a confusion that which A will be the correct one, then it is not possible for you to utilize this in design. Like for your state, say all the states are element of capital A and all the new states are element of capital B. Now you define some function that allows you to map all the states of B, and as in B the state models are handy, so you have designed it control law very easily. But how you can map them back to A, because A is the your physical system doesn't recognize anything that is there in the B, it only recognizes what is there in A. So you have to realize that control action. So that is why this concept of image and like F image and pre-image are very important. Sometimes we call this A is the domain of the function F, and B is the codomain. Sometimes we call it range also. Or more particular definition of range is like if we have a set, a proper set B1 that belongs to B, that all the images of, or better to say all the F images of for all A belongs to capital A, then B1 is called the range. and in case b1 is equal to capital B, then your B is codomain as well as the range of your function, right? Now if we have same domain, like when you can claim that two functions are equal, like if you want to write say we have two functions f and g, and we want to write f is equal to g. So when you can write that the two functions defined on the same domain capital A, if for all A belongs to A, f of A is equal to g of A, then it implies f is equal to g, right? Now we will go to the discussion of or concept of that which is known as onto mapping. Intentionally I have dropped the Venn diagram representation. Why so? Because I want that you gradually develop a habit of understanding and visualizing abstract mathematical definition in your head instead of always having a readily available picture with you. It is your task to draw a diagram, and if you have a doubt that whether the diagram you have drawn is correct or not, you can always consult among friends, consult with me. But if you always readily look for this easily comprehensible thing, then that will not uh, like until unless you take part in any brainstorming session, it will not allow you to grow. So that is very important. Now CRC, what we can write that like let f be a function from A to B now we know that fa, that is equal to b1, that is a subset of B. Now this is range, this is codomain. Now in that case, when we have this b1 is equal to b, or f of a is equal to b, then what we can say that we can say f is a function of A onto B, right? It is also known as surjective mapping. Now now let us consider the concept of which is known as one-to-one or injective mapping, like the function F is defined from A to B if uh, for all A1 comma A2 belongs to A such that A1 not is equal to A2 implies that f of A1 comma f of A2 belongs to B are not equal, or in the reverse way you can say that whenever if A1 is equal to f A2 you can claim that A1 is equal to A2, then it is an one to one mapping. Right. Now based on this what we can do, we can have